What's up, ladies and gentlemen, YouTube? Stando TV here, joined with Tech Gladiator. This is episode 2 of the Interstellar podcast. Once a week, mine and Tech starships collide out in the outer far reaches of space so we can have conversation and bring it to you guys for your guys' amusement. Tech Gladiator, how are you doing today, sir?
Doing awesome. How are you doing?
I am doing awesomely flippin', fluffin', fantastic, sir.
Excellent.
Yes, sir.
Excellent.
Today, let's start off with an easy topic. Gamescom's going on right now, Tech. Did you know Gamescom's going on right this week?
No, I didn't. So, thanks for letting me know.
Yeah, you're welcome. And Konami was at Gamescom, and they announced a new Metal Gear game. What? We just got Metal Gear 5. They fired Hideo Kojima. I don't know if you know the story or not. Have you followed this news story, Tech?
A little bit. I know they fired him and stuff. I've heard you talk about him and everything. I don't know, like, the real reasons why they fired him.
Nobody does. Here's what I know, and the only thing I can speculate is Hideo Kojima spent a lot of years on this game. Right, so he spent a lot of years on Metal Gear Solid 5. I think they were getting impatient. He probably asked for another year. The game wasn't finished yet. They weren't going to meet a deadline, and they were like, put it out anyway. He got mad. Something happened, creative differences of some sort, and he says he's leaving. Konami, though, has they made it seem like that they were getting out of video games altogether. And that video games weren't viable anymore. They canceled Silent Hills, and I assume that's because Hideo Kojima was leaving. But really, they only had 2 games working. They had the Metal Gear Solid 5 and PT, the playable teaser, which would become Silent Hills. There's no Castlevania. There's no Bomberman. There's no other Silent Hill game in production. Pro Evolution Soccer, maybe. But you know. It just seems like they were getting out of games and they weren't putting anything out regularly on a regular basis. And when they did, they overcharged or they milked the content that they did have. So a lot of consumers have broken trust with Konami. Hideo Kojima, of course, he's doing his deal with Sony now. He was on the Sony stage at E3 with, I think it's Death Stranding or something like that. But yeah, we've got a new game, and I don't want to show footage because I know what's going to happen, and that is it's Konami. They're going to copyright claim if I show it to you, but
right.
I can tell you that it's what is the name of that game again?
Maybe you can throw a link in the description or something.
Yeah, I can throw it. A link in the description. Probably yes. But Metal Gear Survive, with the emphasis on the V, which means it's part of the Metal Gear Solid 5 universe. But this is a Metal Gear zombie game. This is not... There has never been there's been zombie references in Metal Gear, but there's never been flat out zombies. This is a zombie apocalypse game. And apparently what's going on is Ground Zeroes, when the Big Boss's base is being destroyed by the XOF, there were some survivors, and they get ported into these wormholes that somehow magically appear that weren't there when we played the end of Ground Zeroes and got to the beginning of the Phantom Pain. But now there's these wormholes there, and it sucked people up and into this alternate dimension. I don't even know. It's a four-player co-op survival horror game, survival zombie game. It's fucking weird, and I think this is just. First of all, you're turning this around in a few years, and you're spitting in the fans' face with your first IP. I mean, people were already pissed that Metal Gear was a pachinko machine. How do you think they're going to feel now that the game is a fucking zombie game? How do you think they're going to feel that it's a freaking zombie game? But anyway, what do you think, Tech?
I got disconnected there. or
Yeah,
I
it's
got
okay.
my program crashed. So basically, they're turning Metal Gear Solid into a zombie game, is what they're doing, and it's gonna be connected to the the two Metal Gear games that comprise Metal Gear Solid 5. That just, I don't know. It's just like you said. There's like a saturation of zombie games on the market. I don't know what you said when I got disconnected.
I was talking
But
about. I was talking about. This is not what the fans want. This is pretty much spitting in their face. This isn't Metal Gear. You just released a Metal Gear last year. You got another one coming out 2 years later in 2017. I assume that's when this game's going to come out, trying to cash in on that Metal Gear thing before Kojima's completely gone. Lost my train of thought.
well, you were basically recapping what you had said while when I had crashed. So basically, they're just trying to cash in on the same property without coming up with something new. I mean, I don't. It sounds like they're. It sounds to me like they've screwed up. That they're spiraling. You know what I mean?
I made a video the other day about how you can't trust Konami at all.
Yeah, I saw that.
And this is what I'm talking about. I can't trust them. First of all, they're spinning this around too quick. Yes, it's the Fox engine. Yes, it's an established engine. I don't trust them with QA. I don't trust them without Kojima there to send out something that's not half-ass baked. I just I don't trust them to do that. Second of all, it's not representative of the IP to do this, and that's a problem that I'm having. I don't know about a lot of other fans, but I said that the Metal Gear Solid franchise was probably dead with Kojima's leaving. I said it's probably time to lay it down and put it to rest. We got 7, 8 wonderful Metal Gear games that are that's it. They're wonderful and a magical experience. So I'm not going to support Metal Gear Survive.
And is this like going to be strictly like an online co-op game, not single player, or?
Yeah, the trailer that they showed made it look like a 4-player co-op. Maybe you can do single player with 3 AI characters. I don't know, but there was an emphasis on class-based co-op. So, and what's really bad is that none of the characters that were shown in the trailer, aside from the very beginning of the trailer, it seemed like they just look like random Joes, not like a Solid Snake or a Liquid Snake or Big Boss or anybody tied to the franchise. They look like normal Joes. They look like generic characters. So I don't know.
Not even like in the Call of Duty Zombies where they have characters like for the co-op, and it doesn't require the other characters to play. Like if you do want to play it by yourself, but if you're playing co-op, each person is a different character, and each character is unique. They're not like just generic characters or anything like. It was that way in the original Zombies, like World at War. Everybody was just like a generic soldier, but they started like making it to where in Black Ops, where everybody was like a unique, specific kind of character and everything, which was cool.
Right.
And with Black Ops and World at War before it, the zombies experience could be done alone or it could be done co-op and everything. It was more fun to do co-op, plus you could survive longer with co-op. but for a game that's, I haven't really played any of the Metal Gear Solids myself. I played I think a demo of 4 once, and that's about it. I don't know if it has multiplayer normally or a multiplayer element, but for a game that's strength is normally single player, to put out like what sounds like a half-assed thing just to, like you said, milk the cow a little bit more, and make it just all, a co-op zombie survival experience. I mean, that pretty much sums it up. It sounds a little half-assed, just to, make more profit off of the same thing without having to do much.
Milking the franchise before putting it out to pasture is what it sounds like to me, which is just shameful. Shame on you, Konami.
Yeah, Konami hasn't really been a publisher I've really gotten into their games since really the old Nintendo days. Really,
well, see, that's it though. Like the old Nintendo days, you had Castlevania, you had Bomberman, they used to do the Ninja Turtles, they used to do Ultra, and Konami were the same company, so they used to do a lot of games back then. And that's the thing is, back then we grew up with Konami, and now it's like this huge betrayal, and they've milked down to 2 franchises, and they're watering them to death. And I don't know. I feel cheated and betrayed. I mean, imagine if Nintendo did this. What if Nintendo went down to just Mario games and fired Miyamoto, only started releasing half-assed, shitty Mario games that have nothing to do with Mario? How would fans?
A Mario zombie survival game.
Exactly. So.
Right. As I said, since I haven't really followed them and everything, kind of makes no difference to me because, I'm probably not going to be... I tend to kind of gravitate to the same kind of game, and I get obsessive about things, so I kind of stick to one thing for a while, so what else is going on a lot of times, almost doesn't matter. But if I was a fan of Konami, I'd probably be pretty pissed too. Luckily, I'm not, so it's like,